is Miss Horton Reed's residence. I'm calling for Miss Cornelia Scott. Miss Scott is sorry, but she will not be able to attend the meeting of the Confederate Daughters this afternoon. She woke this morning with a sore throat and must remain in bed. Oh, and would you kindly give her apologies to Miss Reed for not letting her know sooner? Thank you. Oh, one moment. I think Miss Scott has another message. What is it, Miss Scott? Miss Scott would like to leave word for Miss Esmeralda Hawkins to call just as soon as she arrives. Thank you and goodbye. See, I'm having to impersonate my secretary this morning.
Well, I was so dim it didn't wake me up.
I've already opened the mail.
Anything of interest?
A card from Thelma Peterson at mail.
How is Thelma?
She says she's progressing nicely, whatever that indicates.
Did she have something removed?
Several things, I believe.
Here's the fortnightly review of current letters.
Yes, there it is. Much to my astonishment, I thought I had canceled my subscription to that publication.
Really, Cornelia?
Surely you remember I canceled my subscription immediately after the issue came out with that scurrilous attack on my cousin, Cecil Tutwiler Bates. The only dignified novelist the South has produced since Thomas Nelson Page.
Oh, yes, I do remember. You wrote a furious letter of protest to the editor of the magazine and received such a conciliatory reply from the associate editor named Caroline something or other that you were completely mollified and canceled the cancellation.
I have never been mollified by a conciliatory reply. Never completely and never even partially. Well, if I wrote the editor-in-chief and was answered by an associate editor, well, my reaction to that piece of impertinence would hardly be what you call mollified.
Here's the new catalog from the gramophone shop in Atlanta.
Yes.
I see you checked several items.
I think we ought to build our collection of Leda.
You've checked the Sibelius that we already have.
Well, it's getting a bit scratchy. And well, you also noticed I checked a few operatic selections.
Well, which ones? I don't see them.
Why are you getting so excited over the catalog, dear?
I adore phonograph records.
Well, I wish you adored them enough to put them back in their proper places in albums.
Well, here's the Bavoli we wanted.
Not we, dear, just you.
Not you, Cornelia.
Well, I think Vivaldi is a very thin shadow of Bach.
Well, how strange that I should have the impression that... Shall I answer?
If you would be so kind.
Miss Scott's residence? No, this is Grace. But Cornelia's right by my side. That's Esmeralda Hawkins.
I've been expecting your call. Oh, hello, Esmeralda, dear. I've been expecting your call. Now, where are you calling me from? Well, of course, I know you're calling me from the meeting. Sorbonne son dear, mon petit. But from which phone in the house? There's two, you know. The one in the downstairs hall and the one in the Chatelaine's boudoir, where the ladies will probably be removing their wraps. Oh, on the downstairs, are you? Well, by this time, I presume practically all the daughters have assembled. Well, they're going upstairs and call me back from there. I want to make my position perfectly clear before the meeting commences. Well, thank you, dear.
The Confederate Daughters?
Yes, they're holding their annual election today.
How exciting. Why aren't you at the meeting?
Well, I preferred not to go.
You prefer not to go.
Yes, I preferred not to go.
But it's the annual election.
Oh, I told you it was. Oh, intrigue and duplicity revoked me so that I wouldn't be able to breathe in that same atmosphere. Then why are you ringing the bell? You know Lucinda's not here.
I'm so sorry. Where has Lucinda gone?
There's a big colored funeral in town. There's a big colored funeral in town.
Oh, dear, you have that nervous laryngitis.
No sleep last night.
Miss Scott's residence? Yes, just a moment.
Esmeralda, are you upstairs now,
It
dear?
isn't Esmeralda, it's Miss C.C. Bright.
One moment. How dare you put me on the line with that woman?
Cornelia, I didn't. I was just going to tell you that...
Hush! Now, give me the phone. What can I do for you, please? No, I'm afraid my garden will not be open to the pilgrims this spring. Well, I think the cultivation of gardens is an aesthetic hobby and not a competitive sport. Well, individual visitors will be welcome if they call in advance so that I can arrange with my gardener to show them around. No bands of pilgrims, not after the devastation that they caused my garden to suffer last spring. Well, pilgrims coming with dogs and picking flowers and... Yes, you're entirely welcome. Thank you.
I think the election would have been less of a strain if you'd gone to it, Cornelia.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Aren't you up for office?
For office? What is up for office?
Running for something.
You ever known me to run for anything, Grace? Well, any time I've held an office in a society or a club, it has been at the insistence of its members. Well, I really have an aversion to holding office. This is a different thing. A different thing altogether. It's a test of something. You see, I've known for some time that there's a group or a clique in the Daughters which is hostile toward me.
Oh, Cornelia, I'm sure you must be mistaken.
No, there's a movement against me.
A movement against you?
An organized movement to keep me out of any important office.
But haven't you always held an important office in the chapter?
I have never been regent of it.
Oh, you want to be regent?
No, you misunderstand me. I don't want to be regent.
Oh,
I don't want to be anything whatsoever. I simply want to break up this movement against me, and for that purpose I have rallied my forces.
your forces.
Yes, I still have friends in the chapter that have resisted the movement.
Oh,
Well, I have the solid support of all the older board members.
well then I should think you have nothing to worry about then.
My dear Grace, there are 2 chapters of the Confederate Daughters in the city of Meridian. Well, there's the Forest chapter, which is for social riffraff. And there's this chapter, which is supposed to have a little bit of distinction. Well, I'm not a snob. I'm nothing if not democratic, and you know that.
Miss Scott's residence? Yes, just a moment, please. Esmeralda Hawkins.
Are you upstairs now, Esmeralda? Oh, well, I wondered because it took so long for you to call back. Oh, I thought you said the luncheon was over. I'm glad that you fortified yourself to buy to eat. What did the buffet consist of? Chicken a la king. Oh, that is so characteristic of poor Amelia. Wouldn't you know it? With bits of pimento and tiny mushrooms in it? Well, what did the ladies counting their calories do? Nibble around the edges. Oh, poor dears. Well, and afterwards, I suppose, lemon sherbet and lady fingers. What, lime sherbet and no lady fingers? What a departure! What a shocking apostasy! Well, I'm quite stunned. Now, what's going on? We're discussing the civil rights program. Well, they won't take the vote for at least a half an hour. Now, Esmeralda, I do hope that you understand my position clearly. I do not wish to run for any office in the chapter, unless it's by acclamation. You know what that means, don't you? It's a parliamentary term. It means when someone is desired for an office so unanimously that no vote has to be taken. Well, in other words, elected automatically, simply by nomination, without a vote being taken, unopposed. Yes, my dear, it's just as simple as that. Well, I've served as treasurer for 3 terms, and twice as secretary. Oh, well, yes, and once as chaplain. What a dreary office that was with all those long, drawn-out prayers for the Confederate dead. Altogether, I've served on the board for, 14 years. Well, my point is simply this, my dear. If the Daughters feel that I have demonstrated my capabilities and loyalty strongly enough that I should simply be named as regent, without a vote being taken, by unanimous acclamation, then of course I would feel obliged to accept. But if on the other hand, the clique, and you know the ones I mean, is so bold as to propose somebody else for office, do you understand my position? Well, in that eventuality, hard as it is to imagine, I prefer to bow out of the picture entirely. The moment another nomination is made and seconded, my own must be withdrawn at once, unconditionally. Is that quite understood, Esmeralda? Then good. Well, go on back downstairs to the meeting and digest your chicken a la king, my dear, and call me back when you have something to tell me.
They haven't had it yet?
Had what?
The election.
Oh, not yet. It seems imminent, though.
Cornelia, why don't you think about something else until it's over?
What makes you think I'm nervous about it?
Well, you're breathing so fast.
I didn't sleep well last night, and you were prowling about the house with that stitch in your side.
I'm so sorry. You know it's nothing. A muscular contraction that comes from strain.
What strain does it come from, Grace?
What strain? Why, I don't know.
A strain from what? Would you like me to tell you?
Excuse me,
Where are you going?
Upstairs for a moment. I just remembered I should have taken my drop of belladonna.
It does no good after eating,
I guess that's right, it doesn't.
but you want to escape.
Of course not.
Several times lately you've rushed away from me as though I've suddenly threatened you with a knife.
Juanita, I've been jumpy.
It's always when something is almost spoken between us.
I hate to see you so agitated over the outcome of a silly club woman's election.
Not talking about the daughters, I'm not even thinking
I
about
wish you
them.
dismiss it completely from your mind. Now would be a good time to play some records. Let me put a symphony on the machine.
No,
How about the Bach for piano and strings? You know, the one that we received from Jesse and Gay for Christmas.
no, I said no.
Well, something very light and quiet then. The old French madrigal, maybe?
Anything to avoid a talk between us, well, anything to evade a conversation, especially when the servant is out of the house.
That is it. That is just the thing. How it smooths things over. Sweet and gentle and pure.
Completely dishonest.
Music dishonest.
Completely. It smooths things over instead of speaking them out.
Music has charms to soothe the savage breast.
Yes, so yes, if the savage breast permits it.
Ah, sublime, sublime.
Landowski is an artist with rare precision.
And such a noble face. The profile is fine and strong as Edith Sitwell's. Well, after this, we'll play Edith Sitwell's Facade. Jane, Jane, tall as a crane, the morning light creaks down again.
Dear, isn't there something that you failed to notice?
Where?
Right under your nose.
Oh, you mean my flower?
Yes, I mean your rose.
Why, of course I noticed my rose the moment I came in here. I saw it here.
Well, you made no allusion to it.
I would have, but you were so concerned over the meat.
I am not concerned over the meat.
Whom do I have to thank for this lovely flower? My gracious employer?
Well, you'll find 14 others on your desk in the library when you go in to take care of the correspondence.
14 other roses?
Total of 15.
How wonderful! Why 15?
How long have you been here, dear? How long have you made this house a house of roses?
What a nice way to put it. Why, of course, I've been your secretary for 15 years.
15 years, my companion. A rose for every year, and a year for every rose.
What a charming sort of way to observe the occasion.
At first I thought pearls, and then I thought no roses. But perhaps I should have given you something golden. Silence is golden, they say.
Oh, dear, that stupid machine is playing the same record over.
Let it. I like it.